So I've been getting a lot of questions over the last week or so about where my mustache went.
Obviously, I did shave it off. It got to a point where it was taking like half an hour of my morning every morning just to get it, combed out, oiled up, waxed, and then by the time I hit the
I kind of just shaved it all off, and it'll be back. It's going to come back like 6 weeks or so. It takes me to grow. I don't grow my facial hair that fast, so this one will take me a little bit longer to get into. At its peak, it was about 3 months. I know most of you don't give a damn about my mustache.
You're goddamn right.
Just want to give you guys a heads up in this one. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the 3.4 Cub and how you guys can get some looping pressure out of that. This will complement the video that I did earlier this week. So if you guys are running that already, this will add on to that. Let's go ahead and get into it. What is up, guys? Zan from the Zan Madden YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to show you how to loop in the B gap out of the 3.4 Cub. Now, if you guys missed the video earlier this week, I'm going to go ahead and pop it up on your screen right now. You guys can click the card on the screen and go watch the install of our contain rush plus our quarterback rollout contain defense that is actually pretty good against your bunch meta. Now, my good buddy KoltFordyV, who I have labbed with off and on for the last 3 years, he is one of the most underrated labbers in our community. He has been putting out a new Tampa Bay defense over on his product, which is known as the Virtual Lab Partner. And trust me, I don't go and advertise other people's content unless I truly believe in it. Colt has helped me with pass rushing cocktails, coverage ability setups, offensive line abilities, loop blitzes for my own schemes, ways to fine tune little things on both sides of the ball over the last 3 years. He's one of my best friends in this community, and he's been a true supporter of not only my YouTube channel but Gridiron Game Plans, and it's the least that I can do to give him a shout out. So shout out to KoltFordyV. Go check his VLP out. It is in the description. Otherwise, we're going to be running the 3.4 Cub. Now, this formation is found in several playbooks in the game. So for me, I think I'm in Pittsburgh Steelers right here on defense, and we are actually going to bring some pretty easy loop pressure against the bunch offense. So with this particular setup, you're going to want your looper to be your left middle linebacker. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we have somebody that can, get around into that B gap pretty easily. Now, I think that there are some ratings that are really, really important for loop blitzes to work. Some loop blitzers will be better than others, but obviously you guys are wanting guys that have speed, acceleration, agility, that can be able to get into those gaps. So for me right now, I'm just going to go ahead and put in JOK, who is pretty fast, and I think he's like 86 or 87 speed. So he should be able to work just fine. Now with this particular defense, you're going to want to turn auto flip off. So you're going to go into your settings in practice mode, and you're going to turn that off because we're going to want to run this defense flipped. So the play that we're running once again is clamp double go. I'm going to go ahead and spot the ball on the left hash mark here just to kind of practice what you would face in a game, which is bunch to the wide side. A lot of people will come out bunch short side and then flip it. But with this particular setup, what you're going to do is shift your defensive line to the right and then crash your defensive line to the right. And then from there, you're going to QB contain. So this is what your setup looks like by default. This actually kind of serves as a pretty decent little contain rush. You could still send 6 out of this if you wanted to and be able to control the rollout. Naturally, this would not be a great coverage, with much of the field being responsible to either your free safety user, or if you user the other safety on the weak side, you could user him as well. So, it's kind of up to you if you want to make this your loop rush, but let's start off with kind of the idea of mabling. So what we would naturally do here is shade our coverage underneath for blues, which will be set to 25 or 30 yards if you're looking to defend a corner route. You might set them more shallow if you're worried about some of the shorter corner routes or some of the deeper out routes, like to play flood, for instance. You might set your blues to 15 to be able to take that away. And then what I would recommend doing with this is probably putting this guy into either a hook curl or a mid-read zone if you're worried about, kind of a post in the middle of the field, or if you wanted to mabel, you could put him into a curl flat which would be right here. Now, the goal of this blitz is for this looper to come in. And like I said, it will depend on who your looper is. There's a lot of variables: speed, acceleration, agility. Those things are all very, very important. But generally speaking, this is a pretty easy loop. And this contain kind of pulls the tackle to the outside, making that B gap rather wide for him to shoot in. So if you want to bring this guy down in the box and kind of turn this into a glorified, basically 5-3 defense, if you were to kind of view it as outside linebacker, 3 linemen, outside linebacker, that's 5 across. And then you kind of have this safety down at the linebacker tier, creating a 3. This can be actually rather difficult to run on. You certainly wouldn't want to run a halfback base and give the ball to the running back against this front. So this is a pretty stout defense against that, all things considered. So I want to apologize. I lied to you guys about the crash on this. What we want to do is actually crash our line down, not to the right. So we're still going to go ahead and shift our line to the right, but we're going to crash our line down or slant inside. This will make it so that way when you go to contain, your B gap rusher will hit the B gap, and you can still set up your Mabel calls all the same and still user this player. So I apologize for saying that incorrectly. It's not a crash right. It is a crash inside or a slant inside. That will make this work as a blitz against 5 out. And you see that he's going to come right through the B gap, free at the quarterback for a sack. Now, again, with this particular concept, this complements what we were talking about earlier this week. As you guys remember in the video earlier this week, if you spread your defensive line, pinch your linebackers, you know, you could go ahead and base the line as well, because you want to make sure that, you know, you're able to get this guy in tight. You can then go ahead and QB contain, and you can still set up Mabel coverage and kind of hover right here. This is a great way to complement that, because a lot of players might block their running back against the loop. And if you block the running back against this, this operates just like the nickel 3-3-5 wide, where this player will come in around the running back and you can get that pressure off of the left side. Now, you also factor in that this is actually a rather solid contain rush. You can get pretty nasty with this. So let's go back to our setup where we shift our line to the right. We're going to crash inside, QB contain. With this, you might even leave this as a 6-man setup, because this guy in this contain actually loops around, very similar to the video from Monday. So in the event that somebody wanted to, you know, maybe run the tight end delay fade meta against this, what's really great about it is that if you pass commit, this contain should shoot around the tight end in that delay fade, which makes him really hard to seal. So then when you go to run this, you got that potential. You can't really run away from a looper if he comes in. That guy's going to contain, and the tight end only gets a one-on-one block on him. So again, to do that, all you have to do defensively is shift your line to the right, crash inside, so crash down, and then QB contain, and then your blitz is all set up. So again, if they put the tight end on a delay fade and they want to send everyone else out on routes, you can still come down here with your your user and kind of hang out. The tight end delay fade does not stop the looper from coming in, which is really, really nice. So this is going to be a blitz that, is going to neutralize the tight end delay fade. Again, you kind of run it. Again, you can shift your line to the right, crash down. I crash down twice, and then I contain. And then with this, you know that you're going to have the ability to get pressure on the tight end delay fade. You can still set your, you see we got disengage there. Obviously our user has to get back in the middle of the field. I'm kind of watching my pressures. I set it up here for you guys. But what's really honestly cool about this is that you're going to get some pass off logic. You're going to get some weird disengages. You're going to get that player looping through the B gap. You might kind of fiddle around with where you stand with your user. So we go ahead and set it up again here. QB contain, maybe sometimes you stand a little bit closer to that tight end. Maybe that pulls the offensive line. A good idea is to kind of always look at the shadows that are underneath the guard. So if I'm standing right here, it says the left guard's looking at me. Maybe that helps. You kind of just lab it out and see if you can drag him right there. That didn't work. So maybe you try standing in a different spot on the field to make that work a little bit better. And of course, your coverage is always something that you can change with this. So again, right here, you want your looper, you want him kind of, back here. You don't want him, getting down near the line on this, but right here, you see right here, if they put the tight end on delay fade, you could stand out here. You see how that looper comes in around the guard. So standing a little bit closer to the tight end made it come in. So again, your user placement might need to change based off of, who you have rushing, where who you're using, where you're standing. Those are all things that are very, very important. And again, don't fall in love with sending 6 on this all the time. I want you guys to understand that this blitz right here is actually really, really, really good because you have the ability to Mabel from the inside linebacker. And then this guy being your user, you know, you can kind of stand right here. So this guy goes from being the looper to being your user. And when they block that running back, it's going to end up with the guy, you know, coming in free around him for the sack. And you're looking pretty good in terms of your coverage behind that because you've got Mabel set up. So that is today's video, guys. Again, shout outs to my man KoltFordyV, the loop master. He is dialing up some of the best blitzes in our community right now. Definitely flew this one in for this 3-4 Cub scheme after he saw it on the YouTube channel. He said that when he was starting to look into this loop blitz scheme, that he actually started off looking at clamp double go. And then when he saw that we put this defense out in a different facet earlier this week, that he had to go ahead and fly it in. So again, shout outs to my man Colt. Definitely go support the VLP. And we'll see you guys back here in our next video upload. Until then, this is Zan. Hit the lab and good luck.